Ohio State, Penn State, I thought lived up to the billing. Penn State just could never, Joe, find a way offensively to get things going. Got to give a lot of credit to Kyle McCord. Thought that Manny Diaz would get after him a lot more. He did, and it didn't really affect him too terribly much. I will say this, man, that fumble recovery for 6 that Penn State should have had, that holding call was horseshit. That was not a legit, that's ticky-tack. And the way that the flag came out after the fumble, them showing the side-by-side of it, that is bad. Wouldn't matter, though, because Drew Aller went 18 of 42. Why I put any trust in James Franklin remains to be seen. Joe, their game plan was to go in there and throw it all over the place with Drew Aller. Nick Singleton.
With no receivers. With no receivers, that was the strategy.
Nick Singleton. Well, Drew missed a lot. Did you know, by the way, you want to hear some crazy stat, Pro Football Focus, our buddies? Did you know that Penn State was 5th in yards or separation yardage on incompletion routes Saturday?
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't look like that on film.
But Drew Aller missed a lot. Well, look, Pro Football Focus is what it is. But I thought the game plan was horrendous. They went 1 of 16 on 3rd down. What did you see out of Ohio State, Penn State?
Well, first of all, I don't know. I think that those numbers look really bad for Drew Aller, but I don't think he played that bad, man. I think that he just had such a really difficult matchup to deal with. Penn State is going to be another 2-loss team this year. I do not think that, and I said this at the beginning of the season, I said this every single week since, they do not have the receivers to go punch for punch against Michigan and Ohio State. They will beat all of the other top teams in the conference and all the middling teams in the conference, but they're just not there to be in that Michigan-Penn State debate. Or sorry, Michigan-Ohio State debate. For Ohio State, I tweeted this out.
They're going away from divisions. They might not have to play them every year. So it
eventually, yeah.
So, but they would have to play USC, UCLA, Oregon. Tougher teams are on the horizon for them, though.
Right. I tweeted this out, though, because, look, Penn State's kind of out of the conversation nationally. I'm kind of turning the page there. I think that Ohio State is the most boring team in college football, which is not a bad thing. I think that that's a really good thing, that your team wins in the most unexciting fashion on a big game basis. They did it against Notre Dame. Afterwards, we watched that game, and it's like, that game was kind of boring. It was kind of boring. They play such hard, aggressive defense. They come downhill. There are no rushing lanes open. They are such a good defensive unit, and they just don't do anything that's that exciting offensively. You get 1-2 big plays through the air, and you win the football game. That's what you need, consistency.
It kind of goes back to my point of us being pampered, okay, from offensive teams. I got to give Ryan Day a little credit here. What teams are winning? Like, Joe, what teams are winning? Let me tell you the teams that historically we call them the chalky 5. Okay, Alabama, regardless if you like it or not, is, to me, still in that chalky 5 of premier programs. What do all of them do? Georgia, Michigan, TCU to some extent a little bit last year, but they got away from it, and you saw what happened against Georgia. What do good teams do right now offensively? They run the football, and they play good defense. Yeah. That is what happens. What the teams that are high-flying offensively, what has happened? They have not been able to get over that hump. The only real teams, 2020 Alabama, 2019 LSU, Clemson's in there. But right now, teams are getting back to running the ball, playing good defense. I'm going to disagree with you. I thought Drew Aller had a horrible game. He had multiple times where he had receivers that were open, and he missed them. A couple of times of those quick slants, he's throwing behind the receiver. One of them got tipped. They came after him all night long, and they said, look, we're going to make you beat us. But, Joe, I don't agree with the rushing lane thing. Nick Singleton had 9 carries for 42 yards. Or 48 yards, excuse me. They had, when Nick Singleton got the football, okay, he's running the ball for more than 5 yards per carry. I thought, this is what I honestly thought was going to happen. I kind of expected, like we talked about last week, it would be close early, but I thought that over time Penn State would be able to run the football. Well, Joe, my goodness gracious, you remember the second drive before going into half, they go for it on fourth down. They run the ball 3 straight times. Okay, the score is tied 3-3. They run the ball with Singleton 3 straight times. He gets 20 yards in that drive, I might add. Then they throw the ball 3 straight times and have to punt. They tried to get Eiler involved. But the biggest thing is you got to give Ohio State and Jim Knowles' defense a lot of credit. 1 of 16 on third down, 1 of 3 on fourth down. They got Penn State off the field, and eventually Penn State defense, who I think, Joe, you got to give a lot of credit to. They are a really good defense. I still think they are a top 5 defense in the country. They played their hearts out. Eventually they broke. The time of possession goes to Ohio State, but when both teams had 16 possessions on third down, Ohio State converted 5 more than Penn State did. And that ultimately, when you need crucial third down conversions, won them the game. I also thought Kyle McCord played pretty well. 22 of 35, 286 in the score. He is what he is at this point. And when he got in trouble, he found Marvin Harrison that went for 11 catches, I think 160 in a score as well. When crunch time happened, they threw it to Marvin Harrison, and it boded well for him. The biggest play of the game to me, the 2 biggest plays, the fumble that got called back, which I still don't agree with, and then the Marvin Harrison crossing route when Ohio State is on their own goal line, and McCord steps up in the pocket, fires it. He gets 27 yards. I think they went down the entire length of the field and got 3 on that possession, if I'm not mistaken. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and that's what Marvin Harrison did too. But I walk away with this. Ohio State defensively, my goodness, they are nothing to be played around with. Their front seven's really good. I thought the DBs played well. And so for that alone, Ohio State is one of the best 4 teams in the country. Anybody saying that they're fugazi because they beat Notre Dame, they're wrong. They're still undefeated. They're a good football team. And we have a matchup, Michigan and Ohio State. It's squaring off to be for the Big Ten again.
The point you bring up with Singleton, I think, is a really good one. It's typical Penn State, overly cute, overly trying too hard to rotate your backs. Katron Allen's a fine football player, but Nick Singleton should be getting way more carries than he is. He would be one of the leading rushers in college football. The guy provides such a spark for that offense. For him to not be a more prominent player in things, for him, you said he got 9 carries. That's
9 carries, lame. 48 yards.
He should be getting every single touch every single time they rush the football. The guy is a spark plug every time he gets the ball. But I really think that we have to give credit, though, for this front for Ohio State. That defense is going to finish the year as a top 5 defense. I stand by my point that I think that they fill rushing lanes really well. That defensive line, Michael Hall Jr., Tyleik Williams, JT Tuamoilau, and then you've also got Eichenberg, one of their linebackers. They are downhill. They don't allow a lot of open lanes. The only guy who found success was Singleton because he's got tremendous burst. And for whatever reason, they were just out of position on some of those plays.
Against Michigan that do have good burst. Pause.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that no defense is perfect. No defense is going to be perfect on every single down. So there's going to be some times.
Daniels has to be. Continue.
Everything's always about Jaden Daniels. They're going
to make you a fan.
They're going to, if anything, you forcing me to is making me like him less and less. Because I probably would have come around to it. It's the deal of if I came to the conclusion on my own, I think that I would have been fine with it. But because you keep pushing them on me, it's not working. My final point here, that defensive front could help them beat Michigan. Because if Michigan can't run the football, and that was their problem last year, if they can't run the football, J.J. McCarthy, he's a fine quarterback, but it's kind of like Drew Allard. He's not a guy who he himself is going to take over a football game.
Yeah. But I do think Michigan's just a better overall team. Okay. We'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But I do think if you're a Penn State fan, you got to start asking yourself the simple question. What do you have to do to get over the hump? Like, what do you have to do to get over the hump? I can tell you pretty easily what I think, but I'm just a talking head on a podcast. You're gonna have to start running the football more. You have an offensive line that had success against Ohio State. So what? You're getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust. If you're moving the foot, you know who's not getting any yards? Aller. Hey,
Yeah.
Joe, their legit game plan was for him to throw the ball 42 times against this team. And they continue to bang their heads up against the wall. I mean, look how chaotic he was. In the first, what was it? He was, what, Joe, 2 for 7 in the first quarter? I mean, he was all over the place. He had some wide open dudes. I say wide open, but relatively for a defense that you got to make big-time throws. Yes. And he didn't. And if you can't make big-time throws against this, what did we see J.J. McCarthy do a year ago? Just please, let's not have this argument. What did we see Stetson Bennett do in the, Joe, please don't. Did he? I'm not
gonna.
He threw for 350 yards.
Yeah. He made a bunch of big plays.
He went 17 for 17 in the second half and threw for 250. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but you got to make big-time plays in big-time games. You got to make big-time throws. Yes. The reason you get on, and we'll talk about this later in the week, why are people talking about Michael Penix, Caleb Williams? Because they're not making the big throws in crunch time, okay? Yesterday, Michael Penix had a wide-open Polk and missed him. Almost got picked last night. I'm up at 2 a.m. watching this stupid game. I have no business watching this game. But you got to make the same – if you're going to grade quarterbacks the same, Kyle McCord missed a lot of throws, a lot. But in the same token, he made more throws than he missed. He made more good throws than he missed. They came in with the Brown kid too, and I don't know what's up with him, but that injury did not look good.
By the way, I don't really like that philosophy that they have where you've got a guy on the field, he's moving the ball down the field, and then you bring in somebody who hasn't taken any reps to then
it's the urban philosophy. It's Urban
I
is
don't like it.
Ryan Day is an Urban Meyer disciple. Okay,
it's so stupid. You're bringing in a guy who's got no momentum in the game. He's got no stock in the game in terms of having taken reps and feeling the flow of the game. He's fully fresh. And you had a different quarterback who had a defense on their heels.
If he's not hurt, now I don't know what else. X-rays negative. It could be a high ankle sprain. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Joe, you know what they're going to do against Michigan? If the kid can play, they're going to run a zone read in the end zone, and they're going to score off of him because he's going to throw it, and it's going to come back to bite him. They are setting teams up. I'm telling you, man, he's going to pull it, and he's going to throw in the flat. By the way, we don't mention him ever, okay? Yeah. But I'm going to. Cade Stover.
I like him.
Cade Stover is a dude. Yeah. That catch that he made over the middle with the one hand coming down, that dude is a player. He is really good. He is in the realm, I do believe. He's not Brock Bowers, but he is in that same elite type of tight end prospect. I do like Cade Stover a lot.
I think that there's a huge gap between Brock Bowers and then the second tier of tight ends. Right. I know that you weren't saying that, but to that point, I think Cade Stover's starting to grow on me. He's not a freaky, twitchy, crazy athlete. He's not a 4.4, or there's not many 4.4 guys, but he's not like a 4.5, 4.6 tight end.
He blocks.
Big guy. He blocks. He does everything you need him to. He's like Michael Mayer in a way.
No, I don't think he's Mayer. You know the style of play that I think? He's Gronk, dude. Like, if you're going to put a style of play, not that he is Gronk.
Okay. I don't disagree with that then. He's a college version.
The style of play that he is, what is he? He's going to block really well. He's going to catch it over the middle really well. He's got massive radius. Joe, they threw the ball to him in the flat 3 times, and dudes are just bouncing off of Paul. Yeah. But dudes are bouncing off of him left and right. He is an impressive as human being. Farmer, his nickname is.
You didn't hear that on the broadcast?
No, you know why? Because I had, you know what I kept saying all day today and yesterday? Mercedes Marv in the building.
Maserati
Marv, whatever it is. I love freaking Gus Johnson, by the way.
He beat that into the ground. Oh my God.
I literally want him to read me books at night.
You're not going to sleep after that.
Mercedes Marv probably would never sleep, but he's so good at his job. I love him because in the SEC, and which the Big Ten's about to find out, we have stupid Gary Danielson. Oh,
you don't like him?
Marv.
Danielson is the main SEC guy. No, who's the main SEC guy? CBS.
Over the years, CBS has. Now it's about to be Herb Street. Yeah.
Wait, is it?
Yeah, ESPN's buying the entire SEC. SEC won't be.
Oh, I forgot about that.